Hi guys, and welcome back to Dave's Game Room. Today, it's pickups time again. It's been a little while since I last did one of these. I'm spending a lot of money, or I have spent a lot of money. Again, it's not to the point where it's ridiculous sums and I should be worried and and all the rest, but seriously, this is like an addiction, I'm sure of it. The amount of stuff I buy, I see something, I think, wow, that's awesome. It's something I played back in the day, or it's something that was curious to me back in the day. I've got to buy it. And yeah, my collection's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the weeks and months go by. But yeah, it's not to the point where I should be too worried, but I'm running out of storage space and I need to get some more shelves and all that kind of good stuff because, yeah. A quick note before I start my pickups about my Amiga A1200. It ended up going to Amiga Kit. Unfortunately, my good friend Jason, he couldn't fix the issues that it was having, which included the sound being horrendous. It was all scratchy and horrible, if you remember me saying. And it was behaving like the right mouse button was being held down all the time, which, yeah, it could be down to one of the chips inside that is called Paula, I understand, because that controls the I/O as well as the sound. Hopefully Amiga Kit will be able to fix it, and fortunately for me, the Paula chip is very, very common and is actually quite cheap, so if they do have to replace it, then it's not going to be the end of the world. So, pickups. Got some Mega Drive games here. Picked up World of Illusion. This came from that retro game shop that I went to, the Everyday Games retro game shop that my good friend Rob recommended to me. So this one, most of you guys probably know about this one. You've probably played it, you've probably seen it at some point. It's a classic on the Mega Drive. It's good fun. Me and the wife have actually played through this and completed this already because she is a veteran at this game. She used to play this a lot when she was younger. Also got Tailspin. It's a classic cartoon that when I was growing up was on TV a lot on CITV. Some of you guys may remember. And yeah, I mean, so far I'm struggling with this one. I have started to play it, but I'm stuck pretty hard on the first level. Not sure what to do. I will actually try and do a video on this at some point to kind of, you know, show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully someone can enlighten me on what I'm supposed to do. Picked up Pele because, you know, obscure and weird football games are definitely something that I'm interested in. This game is, well, okay, it's all right from what I've played so far. Me and Mike might have to play this and might have to cover this in a Dave and Mike Reviews episode. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that because we might do another football games sort of special episode. Picked up Mercs. This wasn't from Everyday Games, unlike all the others. This was an eBay purchase. I did push the boat out a little bit with this one because of how much of a cool game it is. I saw Luke Morse did a video, I think, that covered Mercs. Which is obviously, I think it's different in Japanese. It might translate to a different thing in Japanese. I could be wrong. It's a good game. It's a shoot-'em-up game, which I think is pretty awesome. So, yeah, was worth picking up, I think, even though I did spend a bit more than I wanted. Boxed and complete, as are all the others that I've shown you. Again, weird football games on the Mega Drive, Fever Pitch Soccer. It's another one that's going to get some attention, I think, when Mike and myself pick up another football game special, which we'll do. So yeah, it's another one. That one, I think, also was an eBay purchase. It wasn't an Everyday Games purchase. On to the N64 then. So, for the N64, these came from Everyday Games. I've got Wave Race 64, that classic jet ski game. Or, yeah, jet skiing it is. Had me thinking for a second then. Yep, so this is a classic. It's cartridge only, as are most of the games that I pick up for SNES and N64. And to some degree NES, and I buy the special cases that I've shown you in the previous episode or a previous pickups video to keep those in and display those. So that's Wave Race. It's a pretty cool game. It's, I think, a launch title with the N64 from back in the day. Yeah, it's worth a look. Picked up V-Rally 99 just because it was cheap, and I remember V-Rally being a pretty cool and also quite tricky game back in the day. It was good on the PlayStation. I thought my N64 collection could do with a bit of a boost, so I picked this up for the 64, and it's not bad. And the classic F-Zero X. As you'll know, or as you probably will know if you've seen my other videos, I've got the original F-Zero for the Super Nintendo and think it's a cool game. X on the N64 was also pretty good. So yeah, pick this one up as well, guys. Okay, onto the Mega CD. Picked up Thunderhawk, boxed and complete. It's in really good condition. It's a shoot-'em-up game, or like a helicopter shoot-'em-up game, which is pretty cool. So got that for the Mega CD. That came from eBay. That one wasn't from Everyday Games. Road Avenger, on the other hand, was from Everyday Games, and I just picked this up just to add to my Mega CD collection. I've played this. It's one of those interactive video games, FMV games, where you'll play the video sequence, you have to press a button within a certain time frame. Do it successfully, you see the next bit, which is all good, you progress. Don't do it successfully and the car spins out of control and crashes and falls over a cliff or various other things. So that game is pretty cool. It's a bit kind of, it's just it's just simplistic, let's put it that way. Final Fight CD, which is meant to be one of the best home console versions of Final Fight, which is a game that a lot of people really like. I find this game quite tricky, quite challenging, and a bit kind of, I suppose the word I'd use is a bit edgy, because I'm used to Streets of Rage, and this game to me just feels a little bit clunky. It's good though, I do enjoy playing it, don't get me wrong, and I need to devote some more time and get better at this game, because I do find it quite tough. And a game that I saw on Classic Game Room, courtesy of Mark from Classic Game Room, awesome channel by the way, I'm sure everybody who's into retro games has seen it. He was showing Sylpheed, which is another sort of shoot 'em up game for the Mega CD. Sort of shows off the capabilities of the Mega CD quite a bit, this one does. I think it's pretty cool. So pick that one up as well, guys. For the NES, because of how expensive NES games are getting, I've only really picked up one game recently. And it's this quite obscure and reasonably rare Super Sports Challenge Quattro Sports. I actually remember playing this back in the day as a young lad. I probably would have been only about 6 or 7 years old, on my cousin's NES. That's how old this is. I remember some of the music when you started up the games, and I just couldn't believe that I stumbled across this cartridge, you know, sort of 24, 25 years later, and yeah, it just brings back memories. And it's all right. It's a bit primitive, but it's a cool cartridge and a cool selection of games nonetheless. Japanese Sega Saturn. I picked up King of Fighters 95, boxed and complete. Comes with the RAM cart that you need in order to play the game. I think the RAM cart does something like allowing additional frames of animation and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like this game. It's made by SNK, who a lot of you guys may know were responsible for the Neo Geo, and you had a lot of good fighting games, including this King of Fighters series, appear on the Neo Geo console hardware, or arcade hardware as well. So, yeah, this game's pretty cool. And something of a strange one. It's called, hang on a second. I don't know if you can see that, you probably won't. Oh, yeah, Densha to Go. So it's basically a bit like a train simulator. I had a bit of fun playing this last night and trying to make head nor tail of what was going on. And it's funny, it's like a train simulator to some degree, and you've got a obey speed limits, and you've got to stop and pick up passengers, and you get points basically for doing all the right things, and it's game over if you don't. So yeah, this is pretty cool. For the Sony PlayStation, I picked up Tekken. This is an original sort of cardboard box version, which I don't remember seeing this in this sort of cardboard form too much, but you know, I saw this in everyday games. It wasn't too expensive, and I thought I'd pick it up. Most of you by now know about Tekken and know what Tekken is, so yeah, there's the first one. Picked up Wipeout 2097. It's a game I remember from back in the day. It was good fun, really enjoyed it. It's definitely a good sequel to the original Wipeout game. In fact, I think it's better. This is another game that Mike also quite likes. He was the one who sort of recommended that I revisit this game and pick this back up, and we will cover it in another Dave and Mike Reviews episode at some point. The classic Twisted Metal on the PlayStation. This game's pretty cool as well. Again, I went a little bit overboard when picking this up because it's not exactly the most common PlayStation game. It's a little bit rarer, so it was a bit more expensive. Remember playing this back in the day around a friend's house when he had a PlayStation, probably circa 96, 97. Thought this game was brilliant, so yeah, had to pick it up and let's have a look at this at some point, and we will. And finally, Rallycross, which I remember a friend having back in about 98, I think it was. Thought it was a good fun game, so had to pick this up for the PlayStation just to play it again, and yeah, it's not bad. It kind of confuses you a bit because that's just a standard rally car as opposed to a Rallycross machine, but yeah, it's a good game nonetheless. Brilliant. Gamecube. So to add a couple of games to the Gamecube collection, I picked up Resident Evil Remake. This has recently been re-released in HD on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS4, PS3. So I thought I'd pick the original up on the Gamecube. It's fantastic. It's scary as hell. It's a lot more scary than the original PlayStation 1 version was back in the day, but you know, pick this up. Pretty cool. Good to have that in the collection. Along with the boxed and complete, so was Resident Evil, by the way, boxed and complete, Crazy Taxi for the Gamecube. This is just fun. It's a port of the Dreamcast version of the game. Really enjoyed this back in the day. Loved playing it. Spent a lot of money on this on the Dreamcast in one of the old video game shops we had, where you could play the game for sort of 10 minutes or so if you put £1 in. So yeah, really enjoyed this. Picked this up. It's good fun. I think most of you probably have played this at some point in time. It's really cool. So I've got a couple of Super Famicom games. I've got Rockman X, which most of you will recognise as Mega Man X. This game's good fun. It's enjoyable, it's playable, even though there are some bits of dialogue that are in Japanese and I don't understand or read Japanese, so it's not something I don't know what they're saying, but I'm sure I could find out in some way. Cool game, great platformer / shoot 'em up game. Really recommend it. And Human Grand Prix 2, which was fully boxed and complete, is in really awesome condition. Check out my Formula 1 games video that I did recently, good and bad Formula 1 games, because this one appears on there and is bad. I don't need to say any more, it's just bad. Here is a Super Famicom, Japanese Super Nintendo. This one I picked up and this one works. It's got the common problem that some Super Nintendos and Super Famicoms have with some banding that sort of appears in the video when you see certain games and certain screens. I've started to fix this by putting a capacitor on the voltage regulator. You need to put another one on the video encoder circuitry as well, which I'm going to do at some point. It's definitely reduced the banding just by doing the voltage regulator. It's in reasonably good condition. It's just got this yellowing on the nameplate, and there's a little bit of yellowing which you can see on the controller ports. Unfortunately, the other one that I had that had the very strange sort of mode 7 glitchy sort of issue in that second RF modulator, I did all I could with it, everything that I'd read up about it, and I could not get that thing fully working. So rather than just forgetting Super Famicom altogether, I picked up a working one. And finally, a Super Famicom controller. In fact, 2 of them. There's another one that I've got in my drawer full of Nintendo-related controllers. The reason I'm showing this is because it's got a ridiculously short cable. What were Nintendo thinking? What were they thinking? That you wanted to sit on top of your console whilst playing games on that Super Famicom? I mean, really? That's just awful, guys. But yeah, Super Famicom controller, and I thought I'd show it just because of the cord length. Thanks as ever for watching, guys. Coming soon will be another Dave and Mike Reviews episode where we'll be taking a look at Bloody Raw on the Nintendo Gamecube. Thanks, guys.